All right, let's talk about content creation and how Augusto has done it traditionally, and how we're using AI to make that process go faster. So the process stays the same whether it's AI or not, but we are looking for a keyword that we want to rank for that we feel like would be a good position for us to rank for based off our ICP and our offerings. We do that research. We go figure out kind of what are the related keywords, what are other people searching for? What's the monthly search volume? How much does it cost if we wanted to run ads against that keyword? How difficult would it be to rank for that? And then from there, we kind of would then analyze that information, come up with a couple blog posts, titles, and descriptions that we think would be a good idea, maybe some outlines for those blog posts. And then we would go actually write that once we decide on which one we want. And that could be a week-long process to get from a keyword, do all the research, and get to the end where we've got an article that's ready to be published. And that's on a week long would be pretty short time frame for some of this stuff. So what we've done now with AI is we can accelerate a lot of that process for us. So we start with keyword research. So I'm going to demonstrate that or walk through how we used AI workflow automation as our main keyword. We put it in a spreadsheet. There is a N8N process that runs through and grabs, if I zoom in here a little bit, all of the related keywords, suggestions, keyword ideas. This is all going out looking at Google's um, information about what their search engine provides. So autocomplete, subtopics, search engine results, and in the end, it drops it into a spreadsheet for us. So AI workflow automation, what are the related keywords? N8N, that's a big topic for workflow automation right now. Gives us monthly search volume, tells us what someone's intent is when they're searching for this term. Are they just trying to find information about N8N? Is it commercial? They want to go buy it. Are they looking for information on a couple different things? What the competition is for that search word, what the keyword difficulty is, and then what the cost per click for those keywords are. And so we take all of this information, we get ideas, suggestions, down to what's the autocomplete for all of that. We get all of this information, and then we need to figure out what articles we should actually write. So we go through, we categorize these keywords and kind of figure out like what are the categories that we want. And categories could be things like quick wins. These would be like high monthly search volume, low difficulty, authority builders, high monthly search volume, high difficulty. So those are like if you can rank on that, you are an authority in that one. Or emerging topics, so low search volume, but things that people are kind of talking about. And then we create title and description for each one of those keywords. We do the same thing. We take all those keywords and we cluster them into clusters, and then we kind of build out. HubSpot has a hub and spoke model that they talk about for content. This will create and give us like pillars and supporting pages for each one of those. So when that's done, we don't want to just automatically, we need to have someone who's actually picking these. So we have a human in the loop process where it basically says, hey, all your content ideas are ready. Go click into this document and then prioritize which article you want to write and then click approve. So if we look at this content ideas, opportunities, you can see it created clusters. Here's the categories. So what are the categories, the main keyword, what are the keyword, what's the category for each one of these that it's looking at? So authority builders, quick wins, um, we don't really know what this one is. Emerging topics, some of those, and then same thing with clusters. It takes and clusters these keywords together. So N8N related keywords. So here's all the keywords that are related to that. And then for each one of those, it will create content opportunities. So based off a keyword, what the category is, gives us a title. So master automation with N8N, transform your workflow efficiency today, and then gives us the description. For clusters, it does kind of the same thing. And you can see N8N related here, a pillar page, the ultimate guide to N8N, supporting pages, how to set it up with Docker, how does it compare to Zapier? So those would be kind of if we wanted to build out a pillar and then a bunch of supporting pages, we could do that here. You can select one of these articles. So I picked for this one, supporting page, biggest hopes and fears, 10 biggest hopes and fears for business leaders have about, the business leaders have about AI. And so once I've selected that, you can kind of see here, here's the keyword, here's the title, and it keeps the description. And then when I click this approve button here, this process here is going to actually go write the article. So grabs the information, grabs a bunch of information about Augusto, writes out the whole blog post for us in our voice because it's using our Augusto Retrieval Augmented Generation tool down here, which we'll dive into in a minute. And then when it's all done, spits out this article. So here's an article that's written by AI. It has links to other sources. It has links internally um, where it makes sense. It at the very end creates gives us a meta description for it as well. Gives us an image prompt, which if I come back up to the top, that's where this image came from, is that image prompt. And then we can take this information, and right now it's manual, and publish it directly to our blog. And you can see here on our blog where this is coming in. Taking a little bit deeper, so one of the biggest questions when you start getting into content generation is, okay, how do I know that this is written in my voice? And if we dig into, I'm just going to pick one of these uh, pieces of it. So as we're writing our um, blog post, we're basically doing it in steps, right? So what are the key takeaways we want people to hear from the article? Then we write our introduction. And then if I come back over here, we're creating an outline for the rest of it. We're writing the main body of it, and then we write the conclusion. We assemble the whole article, and then we have one final check. But the question that everybody asks is, okay, well, how do I know this is actually in Augusto's voice? How does it know about Augusto's information? And that's where this RAG, or Augusto's Retrieval Augmented Generation tool, comes in place. And you can run these tools and have it ask questions of the RAG. I'm going to refer to it as essentially a custom GPT from now on. So ask that custom GPT questions. And so if I look at the key takeaway agent here, and I look at the prompt, I am telling it, hey, before writing, use the Augusto RAG, or the Retrieval Augmented Generation tool, to retrieve Augusto-specific brand context, ICP characteristics, industry focus areas, and key value drivers. Your goal is to ensure that each takeaway is relevant to Augusto's ICP. And so if I run this, we can test this step. And if I step back, you can see it's going down here. It's hitting our RAG and it's retrieving information. And then once it's done, it'll come back up here and go back into it. It's still executing the node here, spits out this information, and it's going to write a set of key takeaways. It'll be a little difficult to read because it's not formatted very nicely, but here's some of the key takeaways: cultural shifts and strategic impacts, balancing innovation with risk management, um, et cetera, et cetera. If I look at the logs here, you can see that it hit Augusto's RAG. It said, hey, what is Augusto's brand context, ICP characteristics, and industry focus areas and key value drivers? And then the answer comes out of the RAG. So we've fed that RAG, or that custom GPT, with information about Augusto, who our ICP is, what our values are. So Augusto's, our brand context centers on being an AI-driven web design and development company that creates seamless digital experiences and products to enhance clients' interactions with their customers, etc. Has a bunch of information that it knows about Augusto, and it pulls that information out. And then it says, hey, what are the expectations, pain points, and language relevant to Augusto's ICP? So our ICP are centered around their need for value, trust, and digital innovation. Customers seeking to partner with Augusto Digital typically expect following. So collaboration, outcome focused, growth oriented. I just kind of go through innovation. Um, what are their pain points? Friction in user experience. It's grabbing all of the information that we've told it that we, as what our clients, what in our research have looked for. So that's how we're getting down to a point where our blog posts have our voice, and we could use this for many other tools. We happen to be using it right now for content generation. So in the end, this is what we were able to come up with, and this whole process, other than the manual pieces, we can run this whole process in 5 to 10 minutes, and costs us less than less than 50 cents to generate this blog post.